So first up, we got 15 minutes of Elden Ring gameplay this week,
Yo.
and here's a article by PC Gamer where they just kind of go through some of the interesting features of the trailer that we saw or the gameplay that we saw. Um, but with that being said, I'm not gonna. I just picked this article because it had some cool screenshots and videos on it. But I wanted you and me to kind of discuss what we saw in the trailer that kind of piqued our interest.
Yes.
So yeah, let's start with you.
Uh, First of all, the world looks gigantic. I know that as soon as I finished, because I saw this before you did,
Hmm.
and as soon as I was like, "Have you all seen it yet?" And he hadn't said anything, and I was like, "It's Breath of the Bloodborne Sekiro Dark Souls."
Yeah.
So it feels it's interesting because I will admit initially I was slightly disappointed, and disappointed in that it does look a little bit more of the same.
Yes.
It definitely looks like a Souls-like game, which is, their namesake for the most part, at least in this current generation. And I was actually hoping that they'd be like going like a hard left, doing something completely different. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So that there was that piece, but at the same time, it did feel comforting to see things that I was already accustomed to, kind of like a lot of the regular movements, sounds, as well as NPC, like I guess movements, like like the backstab of the NPCs.
Yeah.
And it felt very, yeah, it felt at home, but at the same time I kind of wanted something new. I don't know how to really say that, but
Yes.
I'm completely ecstatic with what we've got. So
Yes. Yeah.
how about yourself?
Yeah. So I kind of had saw your sentiment in comments on
Yes.
in some of the articles in the video. People were like, "Yeah, this looks great, but it's more of the same," which is good and bad at the same time, right? Not bad, but good and not like what's the word? Enticing, right? The
Yes.
opposite of enticing, right? So,
Yeah.
but I
It's not as exhilarating.
yes, but I will say that for me personally, I I wanted more of the same. So for me, it didn't disappoint because, and I know I've played all of them uh, of the Souls series, right? I've played all of them. I've beat them all, but to me, there's still nothing quite like going back and playing like Dark
Dark Souls,
Souls. Yes,
Demon
yeah,
Souls.
yeah. So they just still have that magic about them. You know what I mean? And I mean that's why people still play them to this day. Now, don't get me wrong, Sekiro was an amazing game, right?
Yes.
Um, but it was just like I don't know how to explain it. Sekiro, the precision of that game, right? It was like getting stabbed with a needle point dagger, right? But at the same time, the difficulty was like a sledgehammer. You know what I mean?
It was brutal.
It
It
was
was a brutal game.
is yes, and
Very
that's
demanding.
that's coming from you who beat it how many times?
3.
You beat it 3 times, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I only beat it once because that's all my mental fortitude allowed me to withstand. Um,
It weirdly enough gets more difficult, but also easier. Difficult in that, the difficulty has been ramped up in terms of kind of like an endurance test, but
mhm.
easier in terms of your familiarity with the game. That initial playthrough is the most difficult because you're not, you don't know the world, you don't know the movements of the enemies, and you start to really learn that. And by the second and third playthrough, you're kind of like, okay, I know what to anticipate, I know what to do. It's just like any other game where the more familiar you become with the game, and you're able to, I guess I already said it, anticipate its movements and
Hmm.
react accordingly.
Exactly, exactly. That's well said. So for me, seeing the Elden Ring gameplay, for me the big takeaway is that this really truly is an expansive open world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
And so for me, I am very happy that they delivered on that promise because the world does look huge. And you can see certain things off in the distance where you're like, what is that? You know what I mean? Like, what's that over there? And dude, the horse riding, um,
Oh my God.
yeah, it looks
Oh my God,
awesome, man.
the traversal's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Sekiro's traversal. I think that was like the best out of any FromSoft game, but it was mostly because you are a ninja, and they really
Yes.
captured that whole like sneaking and the verticality of
Yes.
movement. Um, it looks like they've added speed to that, as well as a different type of verticality with how the horse is able to traverse large, expansive peaks with
Yes.
like specific locations.
Hmm.
That looked really cool,
Yeah.
and especially since they added the Sekiro kind of like, you're able to fall from large heights.
Hmm.
So that's nice without too much damage to you. Like I saw that one part when you're at a bridge, and your player character goes ahead, is like what's it called, beckoned by I guess an online player, and they're like, come on, and they jump down the bridge, and I was like, oh my God, that Dark Souls, Demon Souls, you're dead.
Yes. Yeah. You're
You're
dead.
dead. Well, in Dark Souls 3, they have certain areas where you're able to drop from large heights.
Yes.
I'm looking at like the DLC for Dark Souls 3, but aside from that, like, no, that kind of jump is not something that you can do. And they've included jumping. There's jumping in this game,
Yeah.
so it's just it very much seems like an amalgam of everything they've done before, um, honed to razor sharp in this game, and it looks phenomenal, and I'm excited to play it. But at the same time, yeah, there's pieces of me like what you've just said where I do revisit, and I was already thinking about revisiting Dark Souls, the first one on
Yeah.
Switch, because I own it on Switch, and I've yet to play it on Switch. I've played it everywhere else. I've played it on Xbox and the PS3 and PS4.
Hmm.
But I was just like, you know what? Let's see how it is mobile.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I can just wait for it to come on the Steam Deck. But uh, but no, I just wanted to go back to that world in Demon Souls. I constantly go back to it, and it's mostly because those games are so specific.
Yes.
Like there's nothing quite like them. There's
No.
there's clones, but there's something about them, the amalgam of the gameplay, the story, the art direction, the music. You just can't. It's lightning in a bottle, and they captured it in a specific way. Each iteration of game, like for Dark Souls, is a little different than Demon Souls, and Bloodborne is different than Dark Souls. So I'm hoping that we see that again. And Sekiro is different than Bloodborne.
Yeah. No, you're right. They all have their own like specific charm to them, and even the Dark Souls, like Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 are all have differences in them. You know what I mean? That the players can feel.
Yes, yes,
Um, but that being said, some things I want to bring up. The combat looks very, very similar, right, to Dark Souls, but the movement speed is more faster, like Sekiro or Bloodborne. Um,
correct.
I did see counters, like you said, backstab. Um, they
There was a
show
there was stealth.
there was stealth. There was magic. I saw them in the beginning. Remember, he was throwing magic missiles.
Oh my God, the magic in this looks so good.
Yeah,
Like I know Geo. I was literally thinking of you as I was watching, because I remember when we were living together years ago, and I think you were doing a sorcerer only run in Dark Souls,
Dark Souls 2.
Dark Souls 2, and you're having a hard time with that, I think.
I ended up quitting and switching to sword and shield and beating the game.
Yeah.
But I will say this: sorcerer build, you're very powerful against bosses because of the ability to avoid melee damage.
Yes.
But you struggle with enemies in the fact that you have to conserve your ammo and you have to actually switch between melee and your magic.
Glass
I,
cannon.
I didn't know that, so I would just run out of missiles and I couldn't. It was just frustrating for me. So that's why I didn't know how to properly balance a sorcerer in Dark Souls. Um, that being said, would I pick up a sorcerer in Elden Ring? Maybe, but on like a second playthrough. On
I'm
the
or Go ahead.
yeah, on the first playthrough, I think I'm gonna stick with sword and board.
It's so funny because literally I am gonna be breaking my because usually I'm one of those people, and I'm probably gonna get hate on the comments. I'm an endurance guy.
Yes.
I focus on endurance. I like the speed. I like the sticky white bow from Demon Souls. I like sniping fools.
Yeah.
um, but the magic build, or at least the magic attacks in this gameplay reveal, look so awesome. I want to be able to do all of it. I
Okay.
want I want to do that soul great sword move where he just like charges it up and then unleashes that.
Yeah.
I really like that one from the like of the online player character where he took a dragon head. It looked like from a like a boss move, so
Hmm.
maybe boss abilities. The dragon head and just like started just spewing fire.
Yeah, that was actually
Um,
pretty awesome.
oh yeah, that was really cool. So
But
and
that's
then
the magic of From Software games
yeah,
is that they put all this crazy stuff in the game and it's totally up to the players to figure out how to put it all together. And
yes,
you know,
yes.
and pyromancy. We haven't seen anything on pyromancy. You know what I
No, we
mean?
have not.
Because
I mean, it might not even be in there.
it might not even be in there. But for me, I have done hybrid pyromancy builds before,
Mm.
and those are a lot of fun because it gives you the opportunity to use magic, but also if you want to just do pure melee, you can do that as well.
I mean, correct me if because I can't recall right now, but pyromancy in general is kind of broken in Dark Souls.
Yeah,
Like you were like OP.
it is. It's very the damage from it is very powerful.
Everything was weak to fire.
Yes, almost everything is weak to fire. So yeah, pyromancy is pretty strong. Now the the other thing that I will say about the game is, and this article brought it up was the style of the game.
Mm.
Things look more colorful. You know what I mean? The world looks more colorful, and the speculation that I heard was that this is before the destruction of the world. This takes place right leading up to the destruction of the world. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Whereas Demon Souls and Dark Souls,
it's already
it's
after
already
the
after.
destruction.
Yeah, it's already after the destruction of the world. Whereas this world looks way more vibrant, and maybe that's why you even have a horse. You know what I mean? Because in this game, maybe you're trying to stop the destruction of the world. So I thought that was a pretty interesting theory that some people are talking about as well.
That does sound cool.
Yeah.
One thing that I was really liking was the fact that it felt like, and I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead and like word salad this out. But it felt kind of Oblivion slash Elder Scrolls ish, like going into random dungeons.
Hmm.
And I like that idea of like going into these miniature dungeons and running into like skeletons and trying to get loot per se.
Yes.
Uh, I dig that. I'm really happy that they've incorporated something like that. It kind of reminds me of Bloodborne's Chalice dungeons. I lost so much time doing that. I
Yeah, those
loved
were
doing that.
fun, man.
Those were a lot of
Those
fun.
were fun.
But they weren't integrated into the actual single player
No,
in any kind of,
no.
I guess, cohesive way.
It was kind of
Uh,
artificial.
correct,
Yeah, it
correct.
was it was very disjointed from the world.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So I like that, and it just feels like the world is very lived in. We saw a video by Zuli the Witch.
Hmm.
I shared that video with you. Were you able to see it?
No, I didn't see it. Can you explain it?
So Zuli the Witch, I believe, is a Souls hacker. They
Hmm.
they they tend to post videos where they hack into the Dark Souls games or Bloodborne, what have you, and kind of give us an in-depth look that the developer probably wouldn't want you to see
Yeah.
in terms of how the backbone of the game. Anyways, they have like a like a first preview look. It's like how does this game look from the perspective of a Dark Souls hacker? And they pointed out some things that I didn't think of, that when initially the player character passes by the caravan in the beginning, the caravan doesn't aggro the player character. It's not even attempting to attack or even really notice you. It's kind of like doing its own thing. And
Yes.
that gives you the feeling of a lived in world. Like you're not the complete focus of the world. Everything else lives in it and is doing their own thing until you ultimately interact with them, or that there's a reason why they want to interact with you. And I think
Yeah.
that's very cool.
So yeah, let me kind of expand on that because that's how a lot of okay, so here's a rudimentary example. In World of Warcraft, right?
Yes.
You have green NPCs, you have yellow NPCs, and you have red NPCs. Green, they're friendly. Yellow is neutral, and red is hostile.
Mm,
So within the game, there's factions. So for example, if I see like a group of yellow, NPCs, I can go kill them if I want to, right?
mm, yeah.
Now, if I do that, my reputation declines with that. If they're a faction in the game, my reputation declines with that faction, and therefore I go more towards red, where they can become an enemy, right?
Yes. Yes.
And once you make a faction an enemy, it is very, very hard to get in their good standing because you would have to find a way to to gain favor with them outside of speaking with them because now they're just going to kill you on sight, right?
Damn. Okay.
So the way you're saying it, there might be factions in the game where you might come across certain tribes or species in the game where maybe they're friendly to you or maybe they're hostile or maybe they're neutral and you have to gain favor with them if you want,
Well,
right?
that reminds me of Dark Souls. I mean, we had
Yes.
clans.
Yes.
You had different clans that you could be a part of, like the I forget what the clan was called, but the Forest clan with Alvina, the cat.
Yes, I know what you're
And
talking
if you
about.
if you attacked any of the Forest clan, you were like enemies, and they would attack you like on sight. That was the best place to grind, by the way,
Yes.
for souls. But still, yeah, like you could be friends with them, and you could, and that actually led into the multiplayer of the game as well, because you can do like a lot of online multiplayer within that forested area,
Yeah.
which is super cool. So yeah, if they expanded on that like that, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. And so I hope that that's something that they'll do because you're right, it makes the world more lived in.
Live, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
No,
yeah,
super exciting.
yeah, I'm very excited for this game. You and me, we were talking before the show. We already pre-ordered the collector's edition on GameStop.
Yep.
Um, Now there's still some PS4 versions. I know a lot of people don't want those, but these are going to be hard to get. So I would say don't scoff at it if you don't have a PS5 yet.
Yeah, and if you
Um,
want those like goodies, and I mean, I don't know if there's going to be like a smart delivery type thing where kind of like the Final Fantasy 7,
yeah.
where it's like if you own the PS4 version, don't worry because it'll translate to the PS5 version.
Yes. Yeah.
So I
So
hope they do that. They should be doing
they
that.
should do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also there's there's a premium edition which hasn't been put up yet. So you and me, we're gonna try our luck at that.
Yeah, I want that 1-to-1 helmet.
Yeah, dude, that so that helmet's full size?
I can fit a cat. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I might put it on my
It just
dog.
reminded me of like Halo 3, the collector's edition of that, and
Yeah.
you got Master Chief's helmet, but it was like fit for a cat.
Yeah, it was like
You
this
couldn't
big.
really actually, yeah, you couldn't actually put it on. Which, funny enough, GameStop is actually releasing soon. I think it's up for pre-orders. An actual replica, like head-sized replica of Master Chief's helmet.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah,
That.
I'm debating whether I want it or not because I was like, I haven't even beaten Halo 4.
Oh yeah, yeah, that is true. You haven't, but it's not the best story.
Yeah, but 1 through Reach, 1, 2, 3,
Amazing,
3 ODST,
incredible.
and Reach, all incredible games.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
freaking love that entire series, and it was very very formative for my FPS background,
yeah,
which I mean isn't substantial, but I just really enjoyed playing them.
yeah. They're amazing stories. So yeah, there you have it. That's our kind of like rundown on the gameplay. And if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's pretty nice.
Yes.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this episode of Games I Speak. If you liked the episode, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you all next time.